The numerous communities south of Salt Lake City down to Payson were eager to have a local railroad to give them service the big steam roads overlooked. The Salt Lake and Utah Railroad was built by 1916 to Payson, Utah, with much celebration by people. The last spikes were placed by the formidable Mrs. W.M. Smith and her daughter Irene. Mrs. Smith was the contractor that built the 67-mile-long railroad. This map shows many of the towns along the railroad's length. Blossoming industries and productive farm areas gave this territory a rich potential for freight traffic as a pre-1920 business model. The terminal in Salt Lake City was shared with the connecting Bamberger Railroad. In the early years, passenger traffic was heavy, especially during conventions and excursions. At the peak, 26 scheduled trains a day cemented communities together. Workers and shoppers had a useful system that ran right into townships instead of the steam road stations located on the edges of towns. 9 fast interurban cars built by Niles formed the heart of the roster, with 2 American car-built interurban units, 2 coach trailer cars, and a pair of trailer observation cars added to the service. 4 Westinghouse-equipped electric substations strategically located along the system's length provided 1,500-volt DC power to the SL&U. They were located at Granger, Bringhurst, Linden, and Springville. Freight power ranged from this rather elementary 1914-built Niles flat motor to the Baldwin Westinghouse-built 100,000-pound freight motors. The rich farm areas and many of the food processing plants and canneries provided a booming freight business until highways and trucks became serious competition. This railroad was often referred to as the Orem line. It was created by the A.J. Orem Company. The Orem family members were already known for copper and coal mining, as well as the earlier building of the Nevada Copper Belt Railroad. From this experience, they knew how to serve industries with freight service. The SL&U was adept at handling perishable goods such as milk, eggs, and fresh fruit. This special car carried these goods to any town requiring drop-off service. One of the good accounts was forwarding new automobiles shipped from the east. But every new car took business away from the passenger operation. By 1923, the Salt Lake City Union Interurban Station was shared by the SL&U and the connecting Bamberger. From this station fronting on South Temple and west, and the SL&U ran south from here. SL&U Train 5 is leaving Salt Lake City heading southbound at noon. By 3 in the afternoon, it will reach Payson after numerous stops. The older colors were attractive but harder for autos to see. The Eckles interests that owned the UIC took over the SL&U in 1937, and they preferred improved visibility of the sunburst design. There was a branch line west from Granger to Magna that was built in 1917. It was about 9 miles long. These rare views are from the Magna branch line near Kennecott Copper's facilities. Workers from other communities once used this line to get to the smelters in the area. Unlike the Bamberger and the Salt Air, the SL&U used single pole lines instead of poles along both sides of the track. Rail was typically 75 pounds per yard. The SL&U was always known for more than its share of grade crossing accidents and derailments. This scene is at a siding called Hickey. The car on the left is either derailed or disabled. With the siding blocked, it will have to be used as a pocket siding. A northbound car is passing the disabled car in the siding. A southbound car pulls into the siding behind the disabled car. The northbound train will leave. Next, the southbound train with the newer sunburst colors backs out of the siding with its trolley pole reversed. It will then head back to Lehigh. This is running southbound near Lehigh. This bridge crosses the Jordan River at Kirkham. On the other side of the bridge, the SL&U tracks also crossed a Union Pacific branch line. This is all removed now. A car heads north at Chipman near Manila. This is about halfway from Salt Lake City to Payson. The shelter at Pleasant Grove was located a few more miles to the south. 48 miles south of Salt Lake City is Provo, and a nostalgic street scene. Car 603 was rebuilt from a wrecked motorized coach to carry LCL freight and a few passengers. The red arrow markings were part of a bold marketing campaign to increase the express freight business. Car 601 rounds the curve at Provo Station with a trailer car in tow. You can understand why the quiet, swift SL&U cars were involved in many accidents with automobiles. It was always the fault of the motorist, but it still laid a heavy burden on the railroad's finances. This is down the street in Spanish Fork. These cars could speed between towns on the private right-of-way and yet conveniently deliver passengers to the active centers of towns. You can see how the Eccles-approved colors were far more visible. The Eccles family bought the SL&U out of a receivership sale during the Great Depression. They did their best to save the SL&U, but too many things were stacked against the effort. Even World War II didn't help business much. The equipment and everything else about the railroad was by then in bad repair. Keeping things running during the war years' boom was a struggle in its own right. The SL&U managed to hang on until 1946, 1 year less than the sister road UIC far to the north. This is Payson, Utah, and the end of the line for passengers. The shops were located a few blocks from the end of the line. The early years had ambitious plans to extend the line another 25 miles to the south. The First World War curtailed these plans, so the SL&U was stuck with its shops far to the southern terminus of its business. It was a point of some criticism. This scene shows Freight Motor 52 in the background. It was built in 1922 in the SL&U's own shops. The well-equipped machine shops are visible on the left. The yard and car barns are on the right. Car 603 was extensively rebuilt in these Payson shops. Here it backpulls its way to the shops as a flashy auto defiantly roars by. Number 603 here and nearly everything else on the system became irrelevant. The freedom given by the automobile was too compelling for a society invigorated by the victories of World War II. The SL&U quickly vanished from the scene. Almost nothing recognizable is left of it. One of the bright spots was the rescue of one of its two trailer observation cars, number 751. The 751 wound up in the hands of dedicated rail fans. It ran on many excursions on the California-based Sacramento Northern Electric Interurban Railroad. You can see this car today at the Western Railroad Museum in Rio Vista, California, as a preserved treasure of a wonderful and distant time.